If you're planning to live off-grid in America, here's the uncomfortable truth. The state name tells you almost nothing. What matters is how the state behaves once you stop asking permission. So this ranking isn't about scenery or vibes. It's about friction. How expensive the land actually is. Whether water exists without legal gymnastics. How fast regulations appear once you start building. That's what the off-grid reality score measures. From 0 to 100. Higher score means fewer surprises after closing. Alabama scores high because almost everything works without drama. Rural land in central and southern counties still averages $1,800 to $2,500 per acre, and 20 to 40 acre parcels are common, not mythical. Water is reliable. Annual rainfall sits near 55 inches, wells are usually shallow, and rainwater harvesting is legal statewide. Energy is steady. Solar isn't spectacular, but it's consistent year-round, and mild winters reduce battery stress. Regulation is where Alabama quietly shines. Many rural counties enforce very little unless you trigger attention. The score isn't higher only because septic can be unpredictable. Clay-heavy soils can force engineered systems costing $8,000 to $12,000, depending on county mood. Still, cheap land, water security, and low legal friction earn Alabama its 88. Alaska loses points not for regulation, but for reality. Remote land can run $500 to $1,500 per acre, sometimes less, with timber, fresh water, and privacy guaranteed. From a freedom standpoint, Alaska scores near perfect. What drags the score down is logistics. Short building seasons, extreme cold, fuel dependence, and high transport costs turn mistakes into expensive lessons. Near any town, land jumps past $10,000 per acre quickly. Alaska doesn't interfere, but it demands competence. That balance lands it at 72. Arizona earns points for energy and loses them almost entirely to water. Solar here is elite. Few states offer this level of year-round, photovoltaic reliability. Rural land in counties like Apache or Cochise can still appear under $2,000 per acre, which boosts the score. But water is the governing variable. Many parcels rely on hauling. Wells can be deep, restricted, or legally unavailable depending on basin rules. Arizona works beautifully if water is solved before purchase. If not, every system becomes reactive. Strong sun plus fragile water balance puts Arizona at 74. Arkansas scores well because it's quietly cooperative. Forested land in the Ozarks and Ouachita regions typically runs $2,000 to $3,500 per acre. Rainfall is reliable, timber is abundant, and access is usually workable. Regulation varies by county, which costs a few points. One county shrugs. Another suddenly remembers septic rules exist. Humidity and insects are constant but manageable. Overall, Arkansas delivers water, land, and flexibility with only moderate friction, earning an 82. California loses points everywhere friction exists. Solar, potential, and climate are excellent, but usable rural land often exceeds $15,000 to $30,000 per acre. Permitting is slow. Codes are strict. Wildfire risk dominates insurance and construction decisions. California doesn't ban off-grid living. It just ensures it's expensive, slow, and emotionally taxing. High resource potential can't offset regulatory gravity. That's why it lands at 38. Colorado sits in the middle because it works, conditionally. Rural land outside the Front Range still appears around $3,000 to $6,000 per acre. Solar and wind are viable in select regions. The problem is water rights. Owning land does not guarantee legal water use, and navigating that system costs time and money. Add high elevation winters and snow loads, and Colorado becomes rewarding but legally delicate. That balance holds it at 65. Connecticut has water and forests, but little patience for autonomy. Rural land is scarce and often $8,000 to $15,000 per acre. Minimum dwelling sizes, strict codes, and long approvals create constant friction. Off-grid living is possible here, but rarely simple. That reality keeps Connecticut at 42. Delaware's score reflects scarcity. Resources aren't the issue. Rainfall and soil are fine. Space is. Suitable rural land is limited. Prices often exceed $10,000 per acre, and counties tightly regulate septic, electrical, and dwelling size. If your off-grid plan depends on acreage and privacy, Delaware doesn't have much room to give. That caps it at 40. Florida starts strong and then slowly tries to eat your house. Inland land in North and Central Florida can still be found around $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. Solar works year-round, and the growing season feels endless. That boosts the score quickly. Then reality shows up as hurricanes, flooding, humidity, mold, and termites. Building standards rise sharply in hazard zones. Insurance can disappear overnight, and maintenance never stops. Florida works if you build defensively and stay inland. That constant environmental pressure keeps it at 66. Georgia does many of the same things as Alabama, just with slightly more paperwork roulette. Rural land commonly sits between $2,500 and $4,000 per acre. Rainfall is solid, wells are reasonable, and solar is reliable. The friction comes from county variance. Some counties are friendly to alternative builds. Others enforce minimum sizes and inspections aggressively. When you choose well, Georgia feels easy. When you don't, it slows you down. That unevenness lands it at 78. Hawaii has perfect growing conditions and excellent solar. That alone keeps it from falling apart in the rankings. The problem is everything else. Land prices are extreme, often $20,000 to $50,000 plus per acre. Shipping materials is expensive, and logistics dominate every decision. Certain areas also face volcanic or hurricane risk. Hawaii rewards careful planners with money and patience. For everyone else, it's beautiful but punishing. The climate saves it. The cost drags it to 55. Idaho scores high because it still behaves like the West used to. Large rural parcels, sometimes 40 to 100 acres, can still be found for $2,500 to $4,000 per acre outside high-pressure zones near Boise. Counties tend to be homesteader-friendly. Solar and wind are workable, and water is usually accessible. The main penalty is winter. Cold seasons increase energy demands, and in-migration is pushing prices up fast. Still, Idaho balances freedom and resources well, earning an 84. Illinois looks practical until zoning shows up. Rural land exists, water is abundant, and agriculture is strong. But much of the land is premium farmland priced around $5,000 to $7,000 per acre. Many counties enforce minimum lot sizes and dwelling requirements. Solar works but isn't exceptional. Illinois isn't hostile, it's just structured. That predictability with limited flexibility puts it at 60. Indiana is affordable and wet, which helps. Rural land often sits near $3,000 to $4,500 per acre. Wells are easy, and rainfall is reliable. Where it loses points is regulation. Many counties enforce minimum dwelling sizes. Septic rules are strict, and inspections are common. Solar is moderate, winters are cold, and freedom depends heavily on county choice. That tension holds Indiana at 58. Iowa has excellent soil, dependable water, and land that still appears around $4,000 to $6,000 per acre. The issue isn't resources, it's privacy and zoning. Many counties require minimum acreage, engineered septic, and code-compliant homes. Solar is workable but seasonal. Iowa supports self-reliance, but not invisibility. That limits its off-grid ceiling to 57. Kansas surprises people. Large rural tracts can still be found for $1,200 to $2,500 per acre, and some counties enforce little to nothing. Wind potential is outstanding, solar works well, and population density is low. The penalties come from tornado risk and water stress in parts of the West tied to the Ogallala Aquifer. Choose the right region, and Kansas feels wide open. That balance earns it an 81. Kentucky works because it mostly stays out of the way. Forested land is affordable, often $2,500 to $4,000 per acre. Rainfall is solid, and wells are usually reasonable. Many rural counties have light zoning, and the presence of Amish communities isn't an accident. Low infrastructure living has precedent here. The terrain is hilly, which can raise driveway and septic costs, and winters are cooler than the Deep South. Still, the balance of price, water, and low interference earns Kentucky a comfortable 80. Louisiana looks good on paper and exhausting in practice. Land can be cheap, sometimes $1,500 to $3,000 per acre. Rainfall is abundant, and the growing season is long. Then flooding shows up. Large portions of rural land sit in floodplains. Hurricanes are routine, humidity never leaves, and mold and pests become a lifestyle. Building standards tighten in hazard zones, and insurance is a constant headache. The land is fertile, but the environment fights you. That tension keeps Louisiana at 52. Maine is one of the strongest off-grid states east of the Mississippi. Large forested parcels, often 20 to 100 plus acres, commonly run $1,000 to $2,500 per acre. Water is abundant statewide, privacy is easy, and counties are familiar with cabins and seasonal structures. The penalty is winter. Solar production drops sharply, snow loads are heavy, and logistics slow down. If you can handle cold, Maine offers land, water, and freedom with minimal friction, earning an 86. Western Maryland has mountains, forests, and decent water, but the state carries regulatory weight everywhere. Rural land often runs $8,000 to $15,000 per acre, and permitting is slow. Septic, minimum dwelling sizes, and agricultural preservation rules limit flexibility. It's possible to live off-grid here, but the system never stops watching. Resources exist. Freedom is rationed. That keeps Maryland under 50. Massachusetts loses points almost exclusively to regulation and cost. Land prices frequently exceed $20,000 to $30,000 per acre. Building codes are among the strictest in the country, and approvals can stretch 6 to 12 months. Even composting toilets often require formal certification. Water and forests aren't the problem. Bureaucracy is. Massachusetts technically allows off-grid living, but it does not encourage it. That reality locks in a 35. Michigan earns its score on water alone. The state has some of the best freshwater access in the country. Northern parcels often cost $2,000 to $4,000 per acre. Counties are familiar with cabins, and zoning outside towns is often relaxed. Solar works seasonally, and winters, especially in the Upper Peninsula, are serious. Snowfall can exceed 150 inches annually in some regions. If you plan for cold, Michigan offers affordability and water security that few states can match. That earns an 83. Minnesota has excellent water, forests, and soil. Rural land in northern regions often runs $1,500 to $3,500 per acre, which helps the score. What drags it down is climate. Winters regularly hit minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Solar output collapses in December and January, and mosquitoes dominate summers. Some counties also require engineered septic systems, adding cost. Minnesota is resource-rich but climatically demanding, which balances out at 70. Mississippi is cheap and wet, which matters. Rural land commonly sits around $2,000 to $3,000 per acre. Rainfall averages near 55 inches, and the growing season is long. Counties often enforce inconsistently, which can either help or surprise you. The penalties are humidity, pests, mold, and occasional hurricane impact. Mississippi works best for people who value affordability and food production and are willing to manage the environment. That combination earns it a 75. Missouri is one of the most consistently off-grid friendly states in the country. In rural Ozark counties, land often ranges from $2,000 to $3,500 per acre. Timber is abundant, and privacy is easy. Many counties have minimal zoning or none at all, and alternative builds rarely raise eyebrows. The downsides are rocky terrain in parts of the state, tornado risk, and longer drives for supplies. Still, low land cost, workable water, and light regulation push Missouri to an 85. Montana offers scale and silence. Large rural parcels regularly appear between $1,500 and $3,000 per acre, especially if access needs work. Zoning is minimal in many counties, and population density is extremely low. The penalty comes from climate. Winters are long, temperatures drop well below zero, and wind can be relentless on the plains. Energy systems must be oversized. If you're winter ready, Montana delivers freedom per acre few states can match. That earns it an 87. Nebraska's western counties offer wide open land, priced around $1,200 to $2,500 per acre, low population density, and excellent wind resources. Solar works well, especially in hybrid systems. Water availability varies by region, and long-term aquifer depletion is a concern in some areas. Winters are cold and windy, which raises heating costs. Nebraska works best for people planning around wind and water carefully, earning a solid 79. Nevada delivers extreme solar and extreme freedom, paired with extreme dryness. Rural desert land can still run $500 to $1,500 per acre, and many counties enforce very little, but water laws are strict. Some parcels have no legal well rights, and hauling becomes permanent. Summer heat regularly exceeds 110 degrees Fahrenheit, stressing both systems and people. Nevada is phenomenal if you solve water legally and physically. If you don't, the desert decides for you. That balance lands it at 76. New Hampshire has a strong independence culture and decent rural land, around $4,000 to $7,000 per acre. Water is reliable, forests are plentiful, and many residents heat with wood. The deductions come from winter and regulation variance. Solar output drops sharply in winter, and some towns enforce minimum dwelling sizes or restrict alternative structures. New Hampshire works, but selectively. That puts it at 68. New Jersey's score reflects friction, not resources. Rainfall is fine, but land prices frequently exceed $20,000 to $30,000 per acre. Codes are strict, and approvals are slow. Zoning boards actively regulate dwelling size, septic, and utilities. Off-grid living here is technically allowed and practically discouraged. New Jersey lands near the bottom for a reason. Freedom is scarce. New Mexico combines cheap land with elite solar. Rural parcels often range from $800 to $2,500 per acre, and off-grid communities already exist. The penalty is water. Wells often run 300 to 500 feet. Permits can be restricted, and rainfall is low. Logistics and distance between towns add friction. Still, strong sun and relaxed counties keep New Mexico competitive at 78. Upstate New York offers forests, water, and land priced around $1,500 to $4,000 per acre. The problem is regulation. Many counties require engineered septic systems, minimum dwelling sizes, and full code compliance. Downstate prices are prohibitive. New York works best for people who want resources and can tolerate oversight. That mix caps it at 55. North Carolina sits in that dangerous middle zone where everything mostly works, but nothing works everywhere. Inland land in central and western counties often ranges from $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. Rainfall is strong, wells are reasonable, and the climate is forgiving. The western mountains offer privacy and good soil, while the east slides into hurricane and flooding territory. Regulation varies sharply by county. Some quietly allow alternative builds. Others enforce minimum sizes and septic rules aggressively. Choose carefully, and North Carolina is excellent. Choose blindly, and it gets complicated. That variability lands it at 77. North Dakota offers space and wind in absurd quantities. Rural land can still be found around $1,000 to $2,000 per acre. Population density is low, and wind energy potential is among the best in the country. The score drops for climate. Winters regularly hit -30 degrees Fahrenheit, wind chill goes lower, and logistics in remote areas are slow. Solar production is weak in winter, forcing heavy hybrid systems. North Dakota works for people built for cold and planning. For everyone else, it's punishing. That balance holds it at 68. Southeastern Ohio's Appalachian counties offer forested land around $3,000 to $6,000 per acre. Good rainfall and manageable terrain. The catch is regulation. Many counties require permits for even small cabins, engineered septic systems, and minimum dwelling sizes. Solar is average, winters are moderate, and enforcement varies by township. Ohio isn't hostile, it's just quietly bureaucratic. That keeps it at 62. Oklahoma combines affordability with weather drama. Rural land often sits between $1,200 and $3,000 per acre. Zoning is light in many counties, and wind potential is excellent. Solar works well too. The penalties come from tornadoes, hail, and violent storms that demand reinforced builds. Water availability varies sharply from east to west. Oklahoma rewards careful siting and solid construction, earning a 75. Oregon is two states pretending to be one. Eastern Oregon offers desert land priced around $1,000 to $2,500 per acre, strong solar, and established off-grid communities. Western Oregon has water, forests, and strict enforcement. Wildfire risk has risen statewide, and county rules vary wildly. Choose the right county and Oregon works beautifully. Choose wrong and you inherit paperwork. That split personality lands it at 73. Northern and western Pennsylvania offer reliable water, 40 to 50 inches of annual rainfall, and land priced around $3,000 to $6,000 per acre. Terrain is workable, and forests are extensive. The friction comes from township zoning. Many require septic systems, minimum dwelling sizes, and restrictions on cabins or dry structures. Solar is fair but not exceptional. Good resources, inconsistent freedom. That balance earns a 64. Rhode Island's problem is simple. There's nowhere to hide. Rural land is extremely limited and often exceeds $20,000 per acre. Zoning boards are strict. Alternative structures face resistance, and full code compliance is expected almost everywhere. Water exists. Space does not. Off-grid living here feels more like a negotiation than a lifestyle. That reality leaves Rhode Island at 30. South Carolina offers mild winters, long growing seasons, and inland land priced around $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. Solar works well, and wells are common. Coastal regions suffer from hurricane and flood risk, while humidity drives pests and mold statewide. Inland counties are far more forgiving. With proper siting, South Carolina supports off-grid living with manageable friction, earning a 74. South Dakota delivers cheap land, often $1,200 to $2,500 per acre, and excellent wind energy. Population density is low, and regulation is generally light. Winters are harsh. Wind chill can hit -40 degrees Fahrenheit, and snow can isolate roads. Eastern regions also experience flooding. South Dakota rewards winter-ready builds and strong energy planning, landing it at 71. Tennessee earns its score by being quietly cooperative. Land in the Cumberland Plateau and rural western counties often runs $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. Rainfall is strong, wells are common, and the climate is forgiving. Many counties are zoning light, though septic rules can vary. Terrain is hilly, which can add driveway and foundation costs. Still, the balance of price, water, and cultural tolerance for rural living puts Tennessee firmly near the top, earning it a final score of 84. Texas offers scale and freedom. In West and South Texas, rural land still appears between $1,000 and $2,500 per acre, sometimes less. Solar is excellent, and many rural counties enforce very little. The deductions come from water rights complexity and climate extremes. West Texas heat regularly exceeds 110 degrees Fahrenheit, while North Texas deals with ice storms and tornadoes. Texas rewards planning and punishes assumptions. Do it right, and it's one of the most flexible states in the country, which is why it lands at 86. Southern Utah has Arizona-level solar and rural land around $1,000 to $3,000 per acre. The obstacle is water. Wells can require 300 to 700 feet, and new permits may demand water right transfers in certain basins. Northern Utah brings cold winters. Southern Utah brings heat. Utah works best for solar-first builds with confirmed water access. That conditional freedom places it at 72. Vermont embraces alternative living culturally. Rural land often costs $4,000 to $7,000 per acre. Water is abundant, and wood heat is common. The deductions are winter and taxes. Snow loads are heavy, solar output drops sharply, and property taxes are among the highest in the country. Vermont supports the lifestyle, but it charges rent for the privilege. That balance lands it at 70. Western Virginia offers forested land around $3,000 to $6,000 per acre, solid water resources, and milder winters than the Northeast. East of I-81, prices rise and zoning tightens fast. Minimum dwelling sizes and long permitting timelines appear without warning. The West works. The East watches closely. That split holds Virginia at 69. Washington is another split personality. Eastern Washington offers dry climate, solar potential, and land around $2,500 to $6,000 per acre. Western Washington has heavy rainfall, dense forests, and strict enforcement. Wildfire risk has increased statewide, and water rights require careful research. Washington rewards county-level precision. Chosen well, it works. Chosen poorly, it drags. That keeps it at 73. West Virginia is one of the most overlooked off-grid states east of the Mississippi. Land often costs $2,000 to $4,000 per acre, water is abundant, and regulation is minimal in many counties. Terrain is mountainous, raising driveway and septic costs, and winter ice can isolate properties. Still, privacy, affordability, and low oversight earn West Virginia an 85. Wisconsin offers lakes, groundwater, and northern parcels priced around $2,000 to $4,000 per acre. Agriculture is diverse, and rural living is normalized. The penalties are winter, reduced solar output, and county-level septic or dwelling size rules. Wisconsin works best for cold-ready builds and hybrid energy systems. That balance puts it at 72. Wyoming tops the chart for one reason: it stays out of the way. Rural land commonly runs $1,000 to $2,000 per acre. Property taxes are among the lowest in the country, and many counties barely enforce building codes outside towns. Wind is constant, solar is strong in many regions, and hybrid systems thrive. Water rights require research, and winters are brutal. But Wyoming offers more off-grid freedom per acre than almost anywhere else. That's why it earns a 90. After all 50, 5 states clearly rise above the rest. Wyoming, maximum freedom, low taxes, minimal interference. Alabama, cheap land, reliable water, and surprisingly low friction. Montana, scale, silence, and zoning that barely exists. Texas, size, flexibility, and the freedom to build if water is planned right. Maine, land, water, and privacy, as long as you respect winter. If you want raw wilderness and almost zero supervision, look north or west. If you want water, trees, and affordability without constant oversight, parts of the interior east quietly deliver. And if solar is the priority, the Southwest works, as long as water is solved first. Going off-grid isn't about escaping society. It's about choosing the version of America that doesn't fight you at every step. And those places still exist, if you know where to look.